hijos de Pancho Villa, las manos arriba, te traen el mejor chisme, todos a bailar, es el mejor podcast, amigo, y vivan los chismes, no paran de hablar, sí, a mover los pies.
Hi guys, welcome to another chapter. We are in this collaboration with Hijos de su Pancho Villa and Master Talks with Erika Ballesteros. Welcome. And I'm super happy because today I'm with a great person that has a really big career directing movies in the world. And now I am with Oliver Kaderbhai. How are you, Oliver? Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's really nice to have here you in the set. It's super cool to have a person that has this quite experience in making movies. I know that you direct many projects along your career, but tell me about you. Tell me, what do you do by now? What is about your career? Can you tell me something about it?
Sure. So we're here in Durango at the moment shooting a pilot, hopefully, for a new series, which is exploring themes of kind of humanity and like human energy, but it's through sort of a sci-fi fantasy kind of genre of project, which is really exciting. Loads of amazing talent attached. So it's my first time here in Durango, shooting in loads of different locations, which is amazing. And so we've been here a few weeks, which has been great. And my work has been everything from film to theatre, mainly in the UK, but also around the world as well. But this is my first time working in Mexico.
That's nice. Oliver, tell us about you. How old are you?
The question I hate to answer.
Okay.
36. I'm 36.
You're young. We are young, let me tell you. Young talents here.
Still young.
And when you start your career, I mean, what did you study? Did you always knew that you want to do this? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be in the performing arts. So I first off started out as an actor, age 7, just working in sort of local productions near where I grew up. And then I studied at various levels at school, through to college and university, right up to a drama and theatre degree from a university called Royal Holloway, which is part of University of London. And during that degree, I learnt acting, directing, producing, writing, loads of different elements of making theatre and film. And then I set up my own theatre company in my family and made productions with that company in London for about 6 or 7 years. And that company's still there that I go back to from time to time. But that also gave me the opportunity to start working with other people who would come and see my work and then ask me to come and work for them. So that was kind of my route in. And then it just progressed from there. I trained with a theatre company in the UK called Frantic Assembly, who are a really physical, amazing company. They make really kind of interesting, dynamic new work. And so I incorporated a lot of their style, or was inspired by their style in my own work. And so that led to me then working as what's known as a movement director in London, alongside my acting career and being a lead director as well. And a movement director is involved in a lot of the characterization, a lot of the kind of physical element of storytelling. So that enabled me to start working in the West End and with other directors. So I've had quite a varied career, around the UK, and also had the opportunity to work in America and the Middle East as well.
That's nice. But tell me now, well, you told me that you grow your own company, so that's what you said before.
That's right.
And how was that experience? Because for me, well, I love to talk about enterprises and how we start one and all the challenges that we get to do and I mean, we have like these happy situations and some frustrating situations. Tell me more about it. How old you were when you started that company? Did your parents help you? Do you start by yourself with other people? Tell me about it, please.
So I was 21, and I got loads of amazing advice from my dad, who's a businessman. So he was able to help me, but his experience was in a completely different industry. So I had to figure out a lot of how the theatre industry worked. And the way that I did that was by working with other amazing artists, so getting great people that I knew from my life to come and work with me. So other amazing artists, writers, musicians, lighting designers, people that could help to put the thing together. And then we used our network to find other people that might be able to help us, so stage management or production management, producers, and we just used that as our starting point. And then we had an idea which came from a news article that I wrote and that I read, and we just developed the show from there. And I co-wrote it with a writer friend of mine, and between the two of us, we cast it, raised the money, and we literally raised the money from everything from an auction to a bake sale to crowdfunding. We did everything we could to raise the money that we needed to be able to put the show together.
So also you made crowdfunding.
Yeah.
And how was it? How was it?
I mean, this was the early years of crowdfunding. This was 2010 that we were doing this. So people were still getting used to crowdfunding. It wasn't as popular as it is now. And so we set a low limit. I think we set a limit of £1,000 or £2,000, something like that. And we were able to achieve it. But you have to, I'm sure you know from other crowdfunding campaigns, you have to put a lot of work into spreading the word about it to try to get people to give £5 or £10 here or there.
So do you also make the selling job in your enterprise?
Were we selling, how do you mean, the tickets and things like that?
Yeah, well, when you have an enterprise, I think that one of the most difficult challenges when you have the team, well, that's super nice to have the team, but to sell the projects, to have investment, you were doing it?
Yeah. So all of that responsibility fell on me, but as I say, I had an incredible team, so we took charge. We built our own ticketing system. We took charge of selling everything, and actually that is I met Kevin Spacey, who I'm working on this project with here in Durango. He was running the Old Vic, which is a theatre in London, and he had another space called the Old Vic Tunnels, and they gifted us some rehearsal and performance space. So we got that space for free. So we were able to then, use that network to try to publicize the show and sell tickets. So, I guess it was just a case of trying to figure out how we could get the word out there. Twitter at that time, Facebook. Just telling as many people to come and check it out as we could.
Okay, and tell me about your personal life and your job life. Did you have lived like some situation of your life that you have been like down, like depressed, frustrated, or something like that?
For sure, yeah. I mean, everybody in, I'm sure, all walks of life gets to those points. And after the first 3 years moving to London, I'd run out of money. Didn't have a job, and so I ended up moving out of London back home in with my parents. For about 6 months, and I was then traveling to London to try and get work and do all of that, and I just set myself a limit. I said 6 months, and then I have to go back and start again and try again, and that's what I did. But that's 6 months to reset, recharge, figure out what my strategy was going to be, how I was going to continue to make work, because it's a very, very difficult industry to exist in. That's what I needed at that time. And then, of course, everyone has their ups and downs during their career, but I think it's just been about trying to give myself a little time and space at those moments to be able to, yeah, step back and recharge. And I think the pandemic also, you know, if there was a positive to the pandemic, it was that it gave a lot of people the opportunity to stop and figure out what they need. And so some people left the industry, set up their own businesses, did other things. And so it then was an amazing opportunity for people, you know, who were able to kind of reset or recharge or change direction.
Okay, that's nice. So, how do you get out of that situation? Like just giving you the time to be calm and let the things go on by themselves?
Yeah, I think I've always made my own work. I've always created my own opportunities. I've always, you know, knocked on people's doors and said, much like you did,
Yeah.
with our production. You know, I think it's about trying to find those opportunities for ourselves, seeing what's out there, seeing what people are doing, and just asking to be involved or asking to, you know, if there are jobs available, but also figuring out the things that make you happy. So at that time, early in my career, my other passion throughout my life has been music. And so I knew I was going to need to get a job in a bar. And there's a very, very famous jazz club in London called Ronnie Scott's.
Oh.
And I decided that if I was going to work in a bar, I wanted to work in that bar.
Okay.
And so I went in and I said, I didn't know how, they're all cocktail bartenders. And I didn't know how to make cocktails, but I was prepared to learn, you know. So I started off, you know, just collecting glasses and filling the, you know, washing machine and stocking the bar and all of that. And gradually I learned how to make cocktails, and then I was a cocktail bartender. And so, you know, I guess it's about having to be prepared to like step down, do any job to learn how to do the job that you actually want to do.
Yeah, that's nice. You need to be like really conscious about yourself and about your needs and also about your passion, because I think that the world moves so fast that you forget sometimes who you are or what the things, which were the things that made you move. So these breaks, those breaks when you feel like stressed, depressed, or everything because you don't have the project, you don't have the job. Maybe that's an opportunity as you made it, as you took it, an opportunity to look inside of you, to read your own book, and then take action about it. So as you said, okay, if you like to do something, well, why don't you try to do it and be open to learn new things? I think this is a huge skill because not everybody has this ability to keep learning all the time, because
Right,
sometimes
sure.
we feel like, hey, I know everything by now, and that's not the way that you can learn.
Right. And I mean, you know, again, in the pandemic, I lost everything. I lost all my work, everything. My entire career just disappeared in, you know, a day. And so I thought, okay, well, what can I do now? So I had an idea for a play that I'd been developing for 10 years. And I called my friend, and every day for 6 weeks on Zoom, we met and we wrote a play together. So that was how we spent the first 6 weeks of the pandemic, on Zoom, writing a play. Because we went, well, what do we need to be able to do this? We have Zoom accounts, so we can do that. We can be in our own places. And we just need ourselves and our laptops, and we worked. And then when I started to run out of money, I thought, well, I'll do any job. So I'll go and work in a supermarket, or I'll go and be a delivery driver, or whatever, you know, you need to do at that time. And I applied for all these things, and I didn't get any of those jobs. And then I saw a job for a gardener, and I had no gardening experience, but it said no experience necessary.
Oh,
So I applied, and I got the job. And then I was a gardener for a year, whilst doing other things and getting my career back on its feet. But even when my career started again, I continued gardening, because actually I found that work, whilst it was not the job that I ever expected I would do, I found it really satisfying. And so I loved it. And so I thought, well, I want to do this for a year, and I'm going to learn these skills. But it was not good pay or anything like that, but it was enough. It was enough for me to survive during the pandemic. Whereas other people at that time were saying, no, I wouldn't do that. I don't want that job. You know, I'm too good for that. Whereas I never think that about anything. You know, I will always do whatever job is available to me at that time, depending on my circumstances and what I need.
Yeah, I think that knowledge it's more valuable than money sometimes and makes you open new doors. I think that sometimes to build ourselves again, we need to destroy ourselves. And I mean, in the way as the pandemic made with so many people as us, it destroyed so many careers. It destroyed you some way, somehow, and you rebuild yourself.
Totally.
Doing this, being open to know new things and everything. So that's super nice, and I'm glad you're telling me this part of your life. I'm sure that you have also a personal life, and I got this last question until the program is like ending because of the time. But how did you handle your personal life and your professional life?
Well, it took many years for me to figure out how to do that because I would often put my work first, and that would make relationships very difficult. And it would mean, you know, in our industry, you will be away from home for periods of time, or, you know, if we're, say, performing in a show in the West End, then you're performing 8 shows a week across 6 days of the week. So that's usually Monday to Saturday, which means that you miss out on people's birthdays and weddings and, you know, those major events in the lives of your friends and family. And I've started to actually prioritize my personal life more. So now if those events come up, I will make sure that I'm there. And actually I was on tour with a theatre show for a year, and I didn't miss any personal events because I made sure that I scheduled my time to be there for my friends and family because that was really, really important to me. So I would say work is important and I love it. It's, you know, it's definitely the thing that drives me. When I'm not working, I find it difficult. But finding that balance and prioritizing your personal life, your friends, your family, those people that will still be there when the job ends is more important than anything.
Okay. Well, that's super nice, Oliver. I'm so glad we had you here on the set. I'm going to finish this interview just to asking if you can share with us a recommendation and advice for the life of the people that are watching you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any advice really that's helpful. I think the best thing that anybody can do is figure out the thing that, you know, means to them and try and have that thing or do that thing. Whether that's a hobby or a job or a relationship, I think it's, you know, we've just got to be in the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you so much, Oliver, for your time here with us. And thank you, guys. We are going to have more chapters further.